Hey and welcome to Amanda's Book Corner. I'm Amanda, and in this video, I'll be reviewing not one, but two books. First up is More Than Maybe by Erin Hahn, and then its sequel, Never Saw You Coming, which I got as an ARC. So I've had this book for about a year. I bought it last summer. I was actually really excited when it was coming out because I saw the description and thought I identify with those characters, especially the main character, Veda. And I'll talk about why in a moment. So although I got it a year ago, I actually didn't read it until this month because at the end of July, I found out I had won an ARC of Erin Hahn's next book, Never Saw You Coming. So I'll be talking about that one in a moment. But first, let's talk about More Than Maybe. More Than Maybe is a YA romance. It follows Veda, who is a high school senior. She works part-time at a music venue, and she also writes a blog called Behind the Music, which is primarily concert reviews and other editorial pieces about music. And then Luke is a podcaster. His dad was actually the singer of a punk rock band a few decades earlier, but although Luke also has musical talent, he prefers to keep it to himself. He doesn't want to have that star life, but he does run a podcast with his twin brother, Colin. This is kind of a slow burn, friends to lovers kind of romance. Luke and Veda both have crushes on each other, but of course they're kind of too shy to tell each other that. But through circumstances at the beginning of the book, they slowly start to become friends, and eventually that friendship blossoms into something that's deeper. But it takes a while for it to really escalate into something romantic. So one of the things that really drew me to this book in the first place is Veda, and not only that she runs a music blog, but also that she has goals of studying music journalism and getting an internship at Rolling Stone. Her character really mirrors a lot of things in me. I actually do run a music blog in addition to Amanda's Book Corner. It's called Hidden Jam, so check it out if you want. I've been running that since 2014. And I earned a degree in music business, not quite music journalism, but music business. And I actually did have hopes of becoming a writer at Rolling Stone or a similar music publication. It hasn't quite worked out, but I have my blog, so that satisfies my wishes for now. It's not usual for me to really identify with characters. I don't read books looking to see myself in them. Same way with how I watch movies or listen to music. I'm not trying to see myself in the art. I just want to enjoy a good story and see if I can empathize with the characters on some level. So it's actually not that normal for me to find characters that I really identify with, but Veda is someone that I really connected with in terms of her love of music and her music writing goals. I also found that I identify with Luke as well. I've considered getting into podcasting, haven't done it yet. I'm starting with this YouTube channel here. This is only my second video, but if it goes well, I'd like to try podcasting too. We'll see. But I also identify with Luke because he's introverted, he's shy. He's not out there trying to get everyone's attention. And that's something I connect with too, because despite having a YouTube channel, for some reason, I'm actually pretty shy and have always, I've kind of avoided getting too much attention on myself. I've always been quiet. And so it's interesting that I really related to and connected with both of these characters in slightly different ways. And going back to the music, what I really loved about this book is just how musical it is. These characters, Luke and Veda, they talk to each other about music all the time. They are both really into, especially like indie kind of like underground music. And they often send each other like a link to a song, and that song kind of encompasses how they're feeling or kinds of things that they would say but don't want to type out. And that's something I also really connect with because my husband and I, we met at that music business program that I mentioned, and he and I have tons of conversations about music. We send each other songs. Actually, my sister too. I often send my sister a song that kind of encompasses how I feel, and she does the same with me. So it's really fun to see people that are as into music as I am and the people in my life are. And I thought that was charming, and it kind of put me to shame a little bit because I thought I was a music aficionado, but these people go pretty deep. So I really admired them. Beyond music, More Than Maybe also really gets into family relationships. Both Veda and Luke have certain struggles with, especially with their parents, and in Luke's case also with his twin brother. And I like that they're very realistic and very raw and honest, but they're not overly dramatic. So for example, with Luke, his dad was a punk rocker, and Luke has a lot of musical talent, And because of that, his dad really thinks that he should, get out there, get a record deal, put out music, kind of have a similar career path that he himself had once had. But Luke doesn't want that. He doesn't want to be famous. He wants to just make music for himself. And to a certain degree, although his brother always has his back, his brother does kind of betray his trust a little bit, kind of going in line with what the dad would hope for with getting that music out there. And it really dives into like why people create art, trusting each other, and respecting each other's decisions about what they want to do with their life and with their hobbies or talents. I mean, just because you're good at something and enjoy doing something doesn't mean you want to monetize it or share it with people. Sometimes you want it just for yourself, and that's perfectly acceptable, and that's okay. With Veda, it's a little bit of a harder situation. Her dad, who is divorced from her mom, her dad is an alcoholic, and he just doesn't treat her very well, and it's something I really felt bad about. But I like how this book dives into having a difficult relationship with your parents, and it's really unfortunate what's going on between Veda and her dad Marcus. But on the other hand, I really like how it shines a light on how another person can come into your life as a sort of step parent role, and sometimes that can be a better relationship than the people that you're related to by blood, I guess. Yeah, but this book really dives into different kinds of family relationships, a strained relationship with your parent versus a very good relationship with a step-parent figure. So I like how it talks about these things. I do wish that Veda's and her dad Marcus's relationship could have become better by the end, but some relationships just aren't really on that path, or at least maybe not at this time, maybe later down, maybe further on in the future for them. Well, you never know. So all in all, I thought this is a wonderful book. I love how Veda and Luke connect over music, how the relationship really grows, and I appreciate that they don't have any overly dramatic conflict. They do have a conflict at the end, but I like that it's not the kind of conflict that makes them hate each other or want to break up or whatever. It's just a very normal, it's a very realistic reaction to an unfortunate situation. But I love how it all comes together at the end, and I thought this was just a really great book. It was really delightful, and I truly enjoyed it. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Never Saw You Coming by Erin Hahn. So I mentioned earlier that I read More Than Maybe, which I really enjoyed. Her new book is kind of the sequel to that, more of a companion book rather than an actual sequel, so you don't have to read them in order. But in this book, we follow Meg and Micah. So in this book, we follow Meg, who was the best friend of Veda in the first book. Meg was about to go on a gap year after finishing high school. Well, homeschooling. She was homeschooled all this time. And she's just found out some devastating information. The man who she thought of as her dad for her whole life, she just found out is not actually her dad. And her mom, who is very religious and, enforces her being chaste and not wearing spaghetti straps and all of that stuff. Her mom was actually an unmarried pregnant teen back in the day. So Meg's not really sure what to think or how to feel. So she ends up going up to the town where her birth father is from. He passed away a long time ago, so she's not going to get to meet her dad, but she does want to have a relationship with his family members, his grandmother and his brother. So Meg goes up to this town, and this is where she meets Micah. Micah is also a teenager, and he's kind of a grumpy sort. He's a little bit of an outcast in his town. About 5 years ago, it came to light that his dad, who was a priest, was doing some horrible things, and he's now in prison. So because of his father's actions, Micah and his own family have kind of had have kind of faced being ostracized and disrespected by people in their community. So to address the elephant in the room, Never Saw You Coming is, it's a book that really dives into religion and specifically Christianity and the church and youth groups. I knew this going in, and I knew that this might be something that would be problematic for me. I'm I'm an atheist. I was raised without religion. I've never been someone who goes to church or believes in God or any of that. So I thought this might be a book that I'm not going to enjoy so much just because of that religious theme running through, but I actually really did enjoy it. What I really like about this book is how it examines religious hypocrisy and hypocrisy within the church specifically, and how it puts all these rules, especially on young women, and how it leads to all this shame and guilt and thinking of things as sins when they really shouldn't be thought of that way. Normal human behavior and thoughts and desires are seen as sins, and it's just not fair to, especially teenagers growing up within the church and youth groups and all of that. So Meg in particular, she's really grappling with these different feelings in response to what she found out about her mother, the man who is not her father but has raised her as a dad, who may or may not be gay, and her mom, who has just always told her, like, oh, you can't wear a two-piece swimsuit, you can't show your shoulders, you can't even talk to guys. And yet her mom became pregnant as a unmarried teenager. And so it's just like all this hypocrisy. And not only that, but how even now when she becomes a leader at the youth group in this new town that she went to, her developing a relationship with Micah is seen as problematic too. And there are people that are always watching what she does and reporting back to her uncle, who is also part of the church there, and like attacking what she does and claiming that she's immoral, that she's not fit to be a youth group leader. And it's just all kinds of toxic stuff that's going on that's really just not fair, it's not accurate. And I mean, even if the person was right about what she thought Meg is doing, why should that matter? And Micah, he's also been going through his own negative thoughts towards the church. I mean, his own dad was a priest, and yet he stole money and was a womanizer, and that just seems so counter to what his dad was preaching. And meanwhile, when Micah and his mom and their family were going through all the turmoil that came with his dad going to prison, instead of the church and church-going people helping them, being like a shoulder to lean on during this time, they ostracized them, they demonized them. And so it just seems really hypocritical of how he and his family were treated. And so one thing I like about this book is that examination of hypocrisy and issues within the church. But unlike me, who is an atheist and would say, hey, that's a reason to be an atheist, these characters, Meg and Micah, they are both firm believers. They still believe in God and love Jesus and all of that stuff. And it was just refreshing to see people that can have faith even when they recognize issues within the people that are preaching that faith to others. So I thought that was just really interesting, and I like how it was done. And I like that it was done in a very careful and caring way. I understand that the author herself is also religious, and so of course her intent is not to offend anyone who is religious, but I think that's what makes these observations stronger, because coming from someone like me who is an atheist, it might come across as more of an attack or something versus something that deserves real attention. So I like how this book dives into those themes. Beyond all of that, I actually really like Meg and Micah just as characters themselves. I mean, Meg is such a whimsical and light character in general. She's very sweet, even as she's going through these difficult feelings and revelations. Micah, I mean, although he comes across as grumpy at the beginning, I like that he's also a really nice and grounded and caring guy as well. I like how their relationship quickly evolves into friendship and then a romantic relationship. And I think I mentioned this with More Than Maybe, but I like that they don't have some big conflict between them. In their case, they never really do. They don't really have a conflict with each other at all. There are issues that come from other people, but I like that their romance is really solid from the beginning and only grows stronger and surer as time goes on. So I think Out of all the YA romances, I think they're the cutest little couple out of them all, and I think they might be my favorite couple in a YA romance that I've read so far. I don't read that many YA romances. I prefer adult romances, to be honest. But I did think that these two were cute, and I really like them. I actually enjoyed this book a lot more than I expected to, and it's very different from More Than Maybe in terms of like the themes, but I think I liked it equally as well, so I also give this one 4 stars. And that wraps up my review. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell to get all of my latest videos. You can also find the links to read my full written review on my blog and on Goodreads in the description below. You'll also find the links for all my social channels. I'm currently on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'll be publishing reviews for all the books I read, so at least once or twice a week you'll see new videos on my channel. So keep checking back for more, and I hope to see you there.